I hope so. I hope because my fear is that a general audience, perhaps if the technology keeps improving, may not be able to tell the difference. Because I fully believe you. I think it's probably rubbish what it's generating, but the problem is if it tricks people into thinking that it's real, people's eyes aren't necessarily as critical or as trained, myself included, to even realize some of that stuff. And I just hope that their media literacy remains strong. People stay intelligent and pick up on that kind of thing. Roberts rather than Shaggy, but I am called Shaggy Hess on Facebook, and some people do call me Shaggy. So you're very welcome to call me that. I can do a good Shaggy impression.
Hey everyone, this is Abhi from No-Budget Filmmaking Podcast, and here with me is Shaggy Has. How are you, Shaggy?
I'm going very well, mate. Now, I should probably tell you as well, technically my name is Roberts rather than Shaggy, but I am called Shaggy Hess on Facebook, and some people do call me Shaggy. So you're very welcome to call me that. I can do a good Shaggy impression.
Oh, please, let's start that.
Oh, let me try. Like, zoinks, man. Let's get out of here, Scooby. There's Blu-rays behind me, man. It's good. It's a little bit rusty, mate, but
That was really good. That was
I haven't
really
whipped it
good.
out in a while.
That was really good. That was really good. Okay, for the people who don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. So, yeah, my name's Rob. It's hard when you get older too, because I guess I'm used my whole life saying, "Oh, I'm a student studying this," and now I'm not a student. So I guess I would describe myself as wanting to become, I guess, a influencer slash film critic, sort of a conglomerate of the two things. Currently trying to grow my sort of social media pages, having done a degree in film and television. Um, and yeah, just trying to pay the bills in the meantime, mate. Like I'm sure most of the world is these days. And
Uh,
also, I should probably tell you as well, I'm from Australia, if you can't tell from my accent, from Melbourne, Australia. That's probably notable as well.
okay. Slight off track. I've never been to Australia, but is there a different accent in Australia?
There's generally, well, in terms of obviously, like, yeah, compared to UK and US accents, but in terms of around the country, not really. You can, if I think if you live here for a really long time, you can kind of see perhaps some of the more northern parts. They might speak a little bit more like this. G'day, mate. Something like that. Whereas that's a bit stereotypical. It's not as clearly defined as it might be, say, in the United States or in Europe.
Oh yeah, I was originally I was just about within the country because there's like different here, like Valley and the Southerner and all that jazz. So
Yeah, not as much here. Not as much, but a little bit.
interesting. Okay, so you slightly touched upon it. So what was your motivation to become a film critic? And
Well, good question. I guess I feel like I don't even really have the right to call myself a film critic because there are just so many thousands of movies that are even like some of the most popular ones that I just haven't seen. But then at the same time as well, I think that anyone who watches one movie in some ways can be a film critic or I think everyone, I strongly believe that everyone has the right to an opinion on film. And I guess I would put myself forward as someone who is, I guess, speaking from just an everyday perspective with a bit of a background in studying it, which I'll tell you about in a second. But yeah, I think I just I it feels very strange to describe myself as a film critic, although I would like to become one. I think I've got a lot of work to do, especially in my writing and speaking, to in order to yeah, sort of reach that level. But in coming back to your original question, and apologies for rambling a little bit, but in terms of what inspired me to sort of travel down this road where it's something that I'm really passionate about and want to turn into a full-time job, um, I guess it stems from, enjoying films as a kid, but then I decided sort of later in high school, I guess when I was 16, 17, that I just loved filmmaking, editing, and then decided to I was fortunate enough to get into a Bachelor of Film and Television at Swinburne University. And through completing that course, it just exposed me to a bunch of different new films I never would have really experienced, a whole lot of different people that were 10 times more knowledgeable and passionate about filmmaking than me. And from there, my love for it's just kind of developed and then here I am. Now I can't stop watching movies, mate.
Okay. So that's good. But when you say you cannot stop watching, well, what kind of movies do you watch?
Great question. Well, I like to think I watch a very broad range, although probably the majority of what I do watch now are new releases because trying to stay relevant and grow a following on social media, I sort of feel like that's the best way to stay topical and sort of in some ways, yeah, ride the wave of what's popular or what has people talking. But in terms of genre, I'm a huge science fiction fan. And also, I've started to dive into specifically quite a lot of Indian cinema because I made like one video about it. It did really well. And I started watching a few of those movies. There's a really big audience and interest in it. And I've loved those movies. They're really good. And now, yeah, I've just kind of committed. I've just enjoyed them so much. So that's sort of another little pathway that I'm exploring at the moment as well.
We'll talk about the Indian movies later. That's a different conversation. It will take
That's
forever.
good, my friend.
But when you say science fiction, like which do you like to mention some of those? Like, for example, few of them I really love is Denis Villeneuve. It's like
Yes.
Dune movies and Blade Runner. What made me his fan was Blade Runner 2049. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, my friend, funny you should say that because uh oh, maybe I don't actually have them right next to me. I do have all the Dune movies and Blade Runner as well, and I would definitely say, mate, I think you've got good taste. They're some of my favorites. I think Denis Villeneuve's like an absolute mastermind. I really grew up on watching Star Trek as well, so I'm a really big Star Trek man myself, with all those films too, and that kind of intellectual utopian science fiction I think is really interesting because I think a lot of filmmakers and writers now tend sometimes to fall into writing dystopias because often even in our modern world sometimes living in it can be hard and it can feel like a dystopia at times or in certain ways, but I think for me at least something that's more interesting to me as an idealist is the idea of utopian societies and something to strive for and build. So that's why I love Star Trek. You've got other classics like Interstellar. It's funny too, because off the top of my head, I guess I struggle a bit to even think of him. First Man with Ryan Gosling, although that's based on fact rather than fiction. But yeah, I think as well, so many films too have a sprinkle of science fiction in them that you wouldn't necessarily even describe as science fiction, like the entire MCU, for example, right? Like that's got time travel, space travel, all that kind of stuff. So anything that just involves that, Alien franchise, Predator franchise, all that kind of stuff I love. Anything in space really gets me interested.
Yeah. Interesting. Have you seen the movie? It's skipping my mind. Okay, it will come back to me. But what about Alex Garland and his movies like
Yes.
Annihilation?
Great. Yes. Well, what do you think of them, my friend? Because I'm a massive, I would say I love every Alex Garland film I've seen except for Men was a bit of a misfire, even though it still had some interesting parts. But yeah, do you have a favorite one of his?
I haven't seen Men, but I liked his Ex Machina is good for some reason. The one that stuck to me the most was Annihilation. And I
It's
loved Judge Dredd. I love his Dredd movie. I wish he could make more, but God.
that's is that the one with Carl Urban?
Yes, 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 yes.
I haven't watched that film yet, but I've heard good things and yeah, in terms of Annihilation, that's something else I love, like that feeling of cosmic horror. And for maybe the audience who perhaps aren't 100% familiar with that terminology, my understanding of it is that it kind of relates to a general feeling of like unease or a hidden force, not necessarily a direct villain, but almost the atmosphere around wherever the characters are is the villain in itself, or there's something unexplainable happening. I think other good movies that do that Sunshine, which was co-written with Alex Garland and Danny Boyle. You've also got, oh no, I had a few more in my head. I've had a mind blank, mate. Um, I mean, back on Annihilation as well, I guess that film's really good at it too. I just remember some of the imagery even in that film of like sort of yeah, like the mutations with the creatures and like this, yeah, unknown exploring this beautiful environment that somehow feels hostile and sickly at the same time. Yeah, that's stuck with me too. I only watched it once, but I think that's a great movie. And Alex Garland, he's really good at building that feeling, even in like Civil War, for example, when they travel through the landscape of America, in the middle of this imagined civil war in modern times, like it almost has that same feeling with your eyes where you can't help but look at it. It's almost beautiful in a way, yet disturbing at the same time. So I think that that kind of that feeling is something I associate with cosmic horror.
Have you seen his devs?
No, no, I would love
Oh,
to. That's a series, isn't it?
yes, and that's I guess that's peak Garland in my eyes because it's just it's everything you described like in the previous sentence. It's exactly like that.
Sounds like I would love it, mate. Sounds like I really
Yes,
need to check that
yes.
one out.
Speaking of underrated science fiction, I think Minority Reports has been sometimes skipped a lot because I think it's one of the Spielberg's best work.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that, mate, with Tom Cruise. Although, yeah, it's high on my list. I think people kind of speaking of those Spielberg and Cruise, the War of the Worlds movie with Tom Cruise, I think is pretty underrated as well. Like that's a cool science fiction solid film. I feel like people don't really speak about it that much.
I would say I would say it's a solid movie, but I don't think it's a classic like Minority Report. I'm sorry to say this, but yeah. I'm
It's
sorry
good,
to
mate. Healthy debate is good.
yes, yes. But because the Minority Report is something else and it's weird because it's free on YouTube by the way. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
free on
Okay.
YouTube. And speaking of science fiction, does not seems like science fiction is the Truman Show. It is science
Yeah,
fiction in a way.
technically it is, isn't it? Yeah, because it's like this futuristic technology of, putting a guy in a TV show that's broadcast to the world. I think as well, while we were talking to, some other classics as well, like Signs. That's another good example of one. Even like the Cloverfield movies too, and I think we might even be getting a new one from J.J. Abrams, I think I heard, which is exciting for me. Yeah, and I think often I'm more forgiving on science fiction movies too, like with other films, perhaps drama or romance or comedy, I can sort of get grumpy while watching them. Whereas sci-fi, I've got a bit more of a leash where I give it like even there's a Netflix film called The Discovery, which I'd highly, highly recommend to people. Um, it's got Robert Redford in it as well, who recently passed away, who's a great actor. And also, I can't remember his name, the guy from Freaks and Geeks and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, Jason Segel.
Yes, Jason Segel's the main guy in it. And yeah, that's a great film that people sleep on. I think a lot of the time too, people get frustrated with the endings of films. And I just think that sometimes something open-ended or something that doesn't quite make sense, at least for me, it doesn't frustrate me as much as it does sometimes for other audiences, which is fair enough too. You know, that's the beauty of film. It's all subjective.
No, but speaking of endings, if you think about like a lot of people that don't like Danny Boyle's endings, a lot of people don't like Sunshine's ending or the recent one, 28 years later. Those endings no one likes. I don't know why. And speaking of endings, I guess the Spielberg ending is sometimes criticized for like
Yes.
rushed.
Yes. That's so true. I'm just put on a light, mate, so I got a better source of light for you. Um, that's so true. I think for some reason the majority of those endings I really like. I think perhaps they're somewhat unconventional and for a broader audience, people don't like it when it feels as if the story has some kind of unsatisfying ending in their eyes. And it sometimes they can, yeah, sort of come out a bit out of the blue. I mean, with 28 years later, I really disliked the ending the first time I watched it, even though I love that film. But on rewatch, when you know it's coming, I quite like it. So I think it's maybe a reaction sometimes audiences might have where it almost feels like the carpet's been pulled out from underneath you. But when you revisit them, at least in my view, I think they've got a lot to offer.
That's a good question that you brought up because sometimes it's like sometimes a twist ending works, but sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's not even a twist ending, you know what I mean? It feels anticlimactic.
Yeah. I think with the War of the Worlds, that's probably a good example where a lot of people would say that. I don't know whether we should talk spoilers or not about the specifics, but I guess if I can talk, yeah, without spoiling it, I guess it's definitely seen as anticlimactic and or maybe too easily solved, the whole problem of the film. You know, I think another one that's got a crazy ending, but people still seem to like it is The Mist. Have you watched that movie?
That's the one of the most brutal endings I've ever seen.
It is, and it's almost like again, not to get into spoilers, but it's almost like how would I say it? It's frustrating in how they realize it a little bit because it almost just feels it maybe slightly unrealistic or the characters could have seen something else or something like that but it depends what kind of spirit I think you watch the movie in, whether you end up in a mindset where you're nitpicking it. And sometimes I get like that. But other times the movie's kind of taken me along for a ride where I don't really care about nitpicking it anymore because I'm just so emotionally invested in it. So I think that really just comes back to your own personal taste a lot of the time. Don't know if you'd agree.
I kind of agree. And mostly I agree, but there's like, speaking of nitpicking, I only nitpick things when they're like shitty. You know what I mean? And sometimes if there's too shitty that it's good, I love this. I love those movies for some reason. If they're trash movies, as people call it, I love those things.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, like sometimes you do feel like they shouldn't end it there. Like, have you seen Long Legs?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Do you like that ending?
No, Longlegs ending frustrated me, I think, because I was more just screaming at this at the characters, maybe for a different reason altogether. I was just frustrated with how some of the characters behaved in that final scene. I was like, this horrible thing could have been prevented. So that's and it yeah, it kind of got a bit too whimsical and uh, yeah, and same with even weapons frustrated me a bit too with its ending. In terms of the overall sort of what happens with the main villain of that film, I was happy with that. But in terms of the lead up towards it, it's something where the characters start to act in a way where it takes you out of it, at least for me, where it feels illogical at least to me. And I know it's so easy to say that sitting back on the couch compared to these characters that are dealing with these life or death circumstances. But, you know, yeah, I know it's easy to be an armchair critic, but sometimes there's movies that just take me out of it. How did you feel about the ending of Longlegs?
I felt like okay, I think there was like either there was like 15 minutes left. They should have spent 15 more minutes or even 5 minutes to just give us a little bit of answers or a little bit of resolution. That would be really helpful. Or they would have cut it to 5 minutes earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would
And I
be
mean,
really better.
yeah,
I
I've to
haven't
be
seen
honest.
Weapons, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I didn't spoil it. Yeah, I even I Longlegs, to be honest, I've almost kind of forgotten the specifics of that because I think I watched it once in cinemas and then haven't revisited it. But yeah, it's just it is interesting, isn't it? How yeah, it's so subjective film, yet there are some sort of twist endings that audiences seem to love, and there's others that audiences seem to hate, and it's a strange there's something in there that's not necessarily like a repeatable formula of how to get it so it's just right. And I guess for any filmmaker, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get it right, but it's so difficult to do that and hard to know how a broad audience is going to react to it.
Uh, I don't want to preach, but there was one thing I think I heard or someone taught me that it's like if you write a twist ending, you have to set it up that way that the movie should not make sense if that twist didn't happen. If that makes sense. Am I making
That's
sense, right?
Yes, yes. No, you are. That's I think that's sound logic. Yeah, it needs to have overall broader thematic purpose that connects everything together because if it just comes out of nowhere, that's when you get that reaction from the audience. That's very true. Although I'm trying to think devil's advocate whether there are some movies that do kind of come out of nowhere. But even thinking about films like Shutter Island or Fight Club, that's very true. All of them do follow that rule that generally, yeah, the movie and the events in the film don't make sense without it. That's a really good, very
Yeah.
good yeah, sort of summation there. Maybe you've just proven me wrong, man. Maybe there is a specific formula on how to do it right.
No, no. If you think about the best twist endings, right? The Sixth Sense. If we
Haven't actually seen that,
Okay,
believe it or
never
not.
mind. Go move that. Unbreakable. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh,
See, this
fudge.
is what I say about not being a proper film critic, mate. There's so many of these classics I still haven't watched yet, so I feel like I don't have my full
It's okay.
qualifications.
What have you watched with twist ending?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm struggling off the top of my head to come up.
Memento. A lot of Chris
Yes.
Nolan's. Okay, so if you
Yeah, yeah. Or Tenet even.
well, Tenant, I'm not a big fan of Tenant. I don't know. It
Yeah.
didn't make sense to me at least. And
Yeah. Or
again,
The Prestige.
yeah, it would not make sense if you don't see if the twist is not there.
That's interesting. Whereas I don't know if I would fully agree because some of the specifics, and this is me nitpicking it a bit, some of the specifics I guess, well, nah, the broader, no, that's just me nitpicking. The broader twist that you do find out is necessary. I think, yes, sometimes with science fiction stuff, I get it. I can easily go down this rabbit hole of going, oh, well, if this thing happened or this didn't quite make sense, but
Yeah.
no, the broader twist overall does make sense.
Are
You're right.
you th if you're thinking about the whole Hugh Jackman machine thing, I think I'm vague enough, right?
Yes.
If you apart from that, that whole bit, which is just I don't even know if it is science fiction or it is actual magic because
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense in the whole context of that or even after. The rest of it, if you don't, if you take out the twist, it will not make sense at all,
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any others that have got the. Yeah, it's hard. And this is a problem too, I think, as well, with even just consuming films now, where I almost become too reliant on, oh, let me just check Letterboxd and going through all the movies I've watched. Whereas I'm kind of losing the capability of just coming up with it off the top of my head, which I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, it's weird because sometimes I use AI and I feel like I cannot write it myself anything anymore, which I was
Yeah,
really a good writer.
yeah.
It's
It's
the
scary.
weirdest part.
It kind of, yeah, just like things we get used to different tools doing things for us that you lose the original skill. But at the end of the day, like writing, memory recall, intellectual thought, those things I think we need to be really careful about preserving because tools like AI can be great and can help you do some things, but it's like how do you not tip over the edge into having it where it affects you and makes your own sort of capabilities as a human being become diminished. It's a tough one to balance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, have you seen Idiocracy?
No, no, I have
Oh,
not.
dude,
Good
that movie
movie.
was. Yeah, I'm just keep sending recommendations your way, but Idiocracy is one of the futures that I think we all are heading into
Yeah, okay.
towards.
Yeah, I think well I think
It's a comedy movie, by the way.
oh really? Oh, okay. Do you know what do you want to tell me what the premise is?
It's basically like the world gets really dumb in the next 100 years, like really
Okay.
drug dumb. That's the whole premise.
I can see that happening. We're going to be like the adults at the end of Wall-E too, like on our floating chairs, not knowing how to read a book.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, you know what? They feature Crocs in that as a future footwear.
Oh
They
yeah.
and we already accept Crocs, so I don't know.
Yes, that's yeah. That is funny, mate. It sounds like I should definitely check that out. I think
Yeah,
in terms of still on the theme of like science fiction and this sort of I guess this topic we found ourselves in a little bit with AI. The movie Alien Covenant, which I think is a bit underrated as one of the Alien films, that ending to that film, where it's again without spoiling it, but it's pretty much like humanity is sort of helpless and being sort of guided by a artificial intelligence superpower who's sort of got him, where right where he wants him, and we're kind of all asleep, and we're on a ship going in a direction that we can't necessarily even control anymore. I think that film with that ending is perfectly describing the way that we're heading, which is kind of depressing, but that's a big recommendation I'd give to anyone listening who maybe hasn't dived into those later Alien films.
yeah. Even the later Predator films, one with Adrian Brody, I think that's quite underrated, and that was really good. That was a really good movie.
Oh, hot take, mate. I actually didn't enjoy that film. I would love to hear though why you liked it. Yeah, I really disliked that movie. I know it's a hot take.
Um, it's fine. Are you talking about the ones with Joel Kinnaman, or are you talking about the ones with Adrian Brody?
Oh, the one with Adrian Brody, I think for me, I mean, I watched it so close to watch. I was doing a whole watch through of the entire Predator franchise. Loved the first one, didn't mind the second one. AVP first one's good, the sequel's really bad. And then Predators comes along, and I just found it quite just derivative of the first film, almost trying to, it felt to me like it was trying to copy the whole we're stuck in the jungle kind of thing. But then the alien planet that they're on just felt cheap. I know it's from 2010, but I don't know. And the characters didn't work for me. And the plot, like even with I kind of like the basic idea of the plot, but the characters just frustrated me. And yeah, but people like it, mate. I'm in the minority there. I think a lot of people share your opinion that it's a good film. So, but the people I watched it with, they weren't big of a fan of it either. So it's a bit of a strange one.
Interestingly enough, if I did the same thing as you, if I watched it in chronological order with each of the Predator films, I don't think I would love it. But the thing is that I've seen a lot of Predator movie and a lot of trash, and when you watch it in just that, then it feels good. It's nostalgic in a way. I think that's why we love it. But I love it because of the atmosphere and it's an updated Predator. It's
Yeah,
basically, you can say that, right? It's
yeah.
updated, the effects are updated, and everything is updated in a way. So I think that's why it's like seeing an old candy in a different wrapper.
Yeah, and I mean also I think some of the core ideas in that film are good because you can even see Trachtenberg you was kind of recycling some of them, like having the samurai fight in Predator Killer of Killers is borrowed from Predators, and then even just especially in Killer of Killers, like the idea of how the predators are capturing people that kill predators. That's again like within that idea of like the predators having a game reserve where they take, dangerous people and try and hunt them on their own planet. So yeah, I think some of the core ideas have value and are still being used in the films coming out now in the franchise.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that. The only two characters that I remember were first the samurai guy, and the second was Lawrence Fishburne, the
His
guy who
character,
was.
that guy, like in that movie, frustrated me so much.
I love the fact that he's the survivor there, and he's stuck so long that he became crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I love. I don't know why.
I think his insanity frustrated me. Like I didn't quite buy it. I felt like what happens with him, just I didn't buy. But again, maybe that's me being too cynical. I'm not sure because some people like it.
No, because I like it because I was kind of obsessed with I'm Legend. Have you seen that movie?
With Will
Will
Smith?
Smith, yeah, Will Smith.
Yeah, not for years and years, but I remember liking it. That's a good movie.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is like I like a single survivor and just a single survivor and him or her losing their sanity in a way. That kind of thing does I like a lot for some reason because it's more psychological
Mm.
than anything. So I think I kind of bought it, and I also watched it when I was really young, like 10 years ago. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I like that too. I mean, like stuff like Castaway, even Sunshine has a bit of that too as they sort of get more and more isolated. And Black Mirror does a lot of that kind of stuff too, which I love, putting characters where they're imprisoned for, certain number of years in different, online like cyber prisons or stuff like that. I love those kind of wacky ideas and what that does to a human being. It's interesting because I don't know if I can say like the exact type or name of the exhibition it is, but I'm currently working as part of a museum exhibition. And I often think about that idea myself in everyday life because quite a lot of the job sometimes you've just got to stand in a museum room for like 5 hours or 4.5 hours. Sometimes sometimes you don't really get a break. Maybe you get like 5 minutes and you just stand there and you tell people, hey, please don't touch these artifacts if they're going to touch them. But it's this psychological sort of test of like, okay, well, I'm just here. This is all, how am I going to survive this? And then you imagine a character going through that for for however many years what's his Lawrence Fishburne has been living on that predator planet, or yeah, Tom Cruise in Castaway. It is an interesting idea. I can see why you like it.
okay, so we talked about a lot of science fiction. I just wanted to talk about what Indian movie that you watched that got you hooked on everything.
That's a great question. Well, it was just a trailer reaction at first, and I wasn't really invested. I was just curious. The actual first movie that I watched was Dhurandhar, because a lot of people in the comments of that trailer reaction for Varanasi told me to watch that film. And have you heard of it before?
Say it one more time. I just want to confirm.
I
Sorry.
might be saying it poorly. Duranta. Durant.
Dhurandhar?
Yes, that's it.
Oh, whoa. That movie, that's one of the only movie I've watched in theater in almost 3 years. First Indian movie that I watched in, not even three, like 5 years.
It was
Wow.
amazing. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy that film?
Yes, a lot. The thing is that it was the only time, but the thing is that the moment movie ended, I was itching for more.
Yeah. And March 19, coming very soon. I'm not sure when this is getting released, but March the 19th, the sequel is coming alongside another huge film that's called Toxic with an actor called Yash. But I think the reason I just bring that up very briefly is because even say if you're somebody listening to this and you have no care in the world for international cinema or Indian cinema, even just the fact that, for example, this film Toxic that's coming out on the same day, the first trailer got 100 million views. Pretty much every single Hollywood movie, the biggest films in Hollywood, never ever get that kind of numbers on their trailers. The only films that have ever got that sort of numbers is like Avengers Infinity War, even like Oppenheimer, Barbie, all the June Part 2, none of them have got anywhere. I mean, Barbie had like 90 million views, I think, for the trailer off the top of my head, but that's like so rare. Like Indian cinema has so much interest in it, I think makes it interesting in itself. And then on top of it, I would personally say that I genuinely feel like the films themselves are just so engaging and different to what we're used to Hollywood serving us up, and so it's quite refreshing to go and watch a slightly different way of telling stories in, I would argue, often a more entertaining way. Don't know if you'd agree or not, mate, but that's how I feel about it.
Because after watching that, I did a deep dive. I was cut off from Bollywood from like almost 10 to 15 years, if I'm not wrong. But after that, I did the deep dive on Bollywood again, and remember that all the stylized and glamorous spy movies, that film just killed that genre because it was
And the
so
re
hyper realistic.
Yeah, like the revenge aspects as well, and mate, even just like the soundtrack. I've listened to the songs so many times, bro. Like they're so good, and like there's just the aura and the charisma of the actors as well. I really think stands up against the very best of Hollywood as well. Ranveer Singh, Akshay Khanna. They're some huge they're big names in India, but I'd never heard of them before. But even just having experienced it once in cinema, and now I've gone and watched some other Indian films as well. So it's not just going, oh, I've seen one movie and this is amazing. I'm comparing it to other Indian films too. Those two actors specifically, especially, I think really do stand out as some amazing performances. And it's sad to me it's not getting recognized at the Oscars. I really thought surely it could have got some kind of nomination here, best international film or something. It did huge box office numbers.
Yeah, it did. I think it's standing at like number three or four in the whole Indian box office, Indian movies that make fourth
Yeah.
highest grossing Indian movie of all time. So I was like, yeah, that's interesting because I thought since the Oscars, we talked about Oscars a lot in our previous episodes.
Mm.
The Oscar is kind of slowly losing relevance. I think it's the great way to for them to pique the interest of the whole community of the whole world if they start recognizing other movies more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a real shame too, because I really love the idea of the Oscars, but even the fact that Netflix and again, if you've talked about it already, we don't need to go too much onto it, but even the idea that Netflix have so many of their stuff in nominated, like in my opinion, hot take, but Frankenstein did not deserve like it had so many nominations, and I just feel like it wasn't a bad movie, but there's some other great films that deserved some kind of recognition perhaps in some of those other categories that got nothing, and that sort of frustrates me. It's almost like, is Netflix paying for this? Are they bribing people? Maybe that's too conspiracy theory, but that sort of frustrated me a bit, I think, with the nominations.
Yeah, the one thing that we all agree on that legacy is trying, I said the word wrong. Netflix is trying to build a legacy, and I think that's why they're giving so much money to this auteur directors, which is a good thing. Again,
Mm,
it's a good thing. They give money
that
to
is good.
Scorsese, Del Toro, and other big names, Fincher. So that's a good thing. I'm not saying that, but yeah, there's a the whole thing with I think it was Netflix's movie, right?
Mm.
Last year, the musical. I forgot the name. Uh, the
Musical
musical
last from
last,
Netflix.
yeah, the musical about a transgender,
Oh,
about a tra
Emilia Perez.
yes, but it does not deserve to be. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but it does not deserve as many nominations it got.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I agree with you. I think it was kind of a bit unfair to Ariana Grande to miss. I mean, Zoe Saldana is a brilliant actress. She's amazing, phenomenally talented, but I don't think she should have won that best supporting over Ariana. Or was it? Was she? I think it was Ariana Grande for, or it was Cynthia Erivo. I just feel like, yeah, there were, I don't know, there were some better performances that year than that, and that film, yeah, was a bit questionable.
Yeah, I don't hate the concept. The concept and everything, I don't hate it, but the whole
I
movie,
agree.
if you look at objectively, eh, you know what I
The
mean?
music, the music's not great, and
Yes.
I watched it with a Spanish speaking person at the time, and she was saying to me that if you listen, if you know Spanish and you watch it, it really doesn't hold up very well in terms of some of the dialogue and the music, I think.
Yeah, so I think that, and it was directed by a French director, so I was like, what?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, and kind of and he had some very questionable views. Again, not to dive too deeply into politics, but he had some pretty questionable views, I think, about stuff he'd said about Mexico that was pretty insensitive. So, yeah, I don't yeah, there was a whole lot of drama with that I just think maybe we could have given some nominations to a few other movies. Even June didn't well, June maybe was had a few more nominations, but wasn't too successful. So yeah.
Yeah. And movie, I don't know why. It's this year nomination. I loved Frankenstein mainly because I am a sucker for all things Guillermo del Toro. But again, I for some reason I haven't watched that many much movies before this year, which was released this year. I'm watching a lot of old stuff. It feels like I'm catching up to a lot of things. But yeah, this year I don't feel there's a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, I thought that, but at the same time, like I've started to go through trying to watch all the Oscar nominations. I gotta say, I like Hamnet. I watched last night, and that was incredible. Because for me, I think what I'm looking for in a film that gets me across to the 5-star rating, the coveted 5-star rating, at least for me on Letterboxd, is that it gives me a really strong sense of emotion where like this a really strong sense like where I'm struggling to hold back tears in the cinema or I'm feeling so euphoric or in awe. And yeah, Hamnet had me. I was trying so hard not to cry at the end of that movie. And, June has it for me with like what it taps into in terms of like ethereally and like it's the how it talks about dreams and destiny and the scale, that's from last year. Going back to again a movie that I think got completely snubbed that we touched on before, which I loved, was 28 Years Later. That film really hit me in the heartstrings, and that got no nominations, which I was pretty sad about. Even cinematography, I would have been controversial because it was shot on an iPhone, but I thought maybe something like that could have been recognized, or even the soundtrack like was amazing to that film. And no recognition there. That really frustrated me. So, but I know I'm biased there because, mate, I've got it. Again, I've got it right here on crispy 4K. For those listening, I'm just holding my copy of it on 4K up to the camera right now. Um, Yeah, I love that movie, but I feel like maybe again I'm in the minority a bit there. Have you seen it?
I have not, because I heard from my Welsh. He's from Wales, so he's Welsh. So he said, I don't like it. I don't like the ending. So there was that. And there's this one thing. Yeah, I need to catch up with a lot of 2025 movies, but a weird tangent. But have you seen like Avatar movies?
Yes, yes. I've watched all of them, all
Did one
three.
of them got nominated for Fire and Ash? I think it should be nominated for visual effects.
Yes, it did get best visual effects, and I really do think it should win. I've watched some of the other nominations, even the more obscure ones, like The Lost Bus with Matthew McConaughey. That was nominated for visual effects because it's got a lot of fire simulation in there and a lot of VFX shots with fire, which it did well, but I think it would, yeah, there's no way that it should take Avatar's spot. And I recently watched Jurassic World Rebirth as well. That was nominated too. It had some great VFX, but it also had a few shots where some green screen compositing stuff sort of stood out to me a bit. So I would be, if Avatar doesn't win best visual effects this year, that is an absolute robbery, in my opinion. It's got to be Avatar.
But
Because
I would really, okay, I think I'm in the minority, but I really wanted the third one to kind of fail so that I think James Cameron could move on and do some other things because he's a talented director. You know what I mean? He can make some really good stuff. Like he was about to make the Alita, and if he was in the realm, he would have made the whole anime to live action jump mainstream. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I agree. I think it is unfortunate that he is a mortal person, not immortal, a mortal, just like you or me, where his lifespan is limited and he's spending what, like 20, 30 years of his life doing five Avatar movies when he's so talented, he could be making new, even original stories or yeah, adapting stuff like that, bringing anime over to the to live action in a more mainstream way. It is a shame, but what can you do? I guess he's just happy in his old age, wanting to make what he wants to make. So there's not much we can do. But I agree with you. It would be nice. Hopefully, after uh the next few Avatar movies, if they do happen, hopefully he's got some time to make one or two after at least. I really
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah, I hope. I really don't want him to make another sequel. Really. I'm happy that he does not make any sequels and he just makes something original. Even though he did make the best sequel of all time, which is Terminator 2, but yeah.
Still haven't seen it, mate. It's such a blind spot for me. I feel like the audience would maybe be smashing their keyboards in anger right now, and I wouldn't blame them because I still haven't seen it. I really have to check that movie out.
Oh, you're missing out. I watched it when for some reason, I was scared as shit when I watched it first time. I watched it when I was like 12 or 13, but I was scared.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've heard great things, and even just the visual effects in it as well is so groundbreaking and revolutionary, and the science fiction aspects too. And now I've gone through and watched the whole Predator franchise, even just with Arnie being in the first one. For big Arnie, I've got to go and dive into his other big franchise that he's known for. So yeah, really massively need to watch that one. I've got the first one on Blu-ray, so I've got it ready to go. It's just about finding the time to watch movies because I'm just so time poor. It's hard to find time. There's so many to watch.
Yeah, it's a time management thing is really tough, I guess, for
Yeah.
everyone. But yeah, if that makes you feel any better, I haven't watched RoboCop.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't seen RoboCop either. I've got that on Blu-ray too. I've got them all sitting behind me, but just no time. And this is why I say to people as well, I will so happily live to be 150, 200 years old if I can. People say, oh, once they get to old age, they're happy for their life to finish. I'm not, mate. if as long as I can sit around and I'm not in pain and I can see and I can hear, if AI technology is going to keep me alive, I'm going to stay alive as long as I can, just watching movies, man, because there's so many to see, so many good ones.
Yeah, so many. I think there's one part of cinema that my friends have introduced me and trying to introduce me. It's like the Russian ones. And
Oh,
Russian
okay.
cinema is quite interesting. One of it is on my schedule, or the list is Come and See, and it's a war movie, and everyone wants me to watch it, but I can't. For the life of me, I cannot find the time. And Hard to Be a God too. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't know if I know that one, but I again, Come and See is one I've heard many good things about, and I'm almost going to try and get to finally watch that myself because I think they're actually screening it at a cinema near me, locally. So, yeah, I'm going to try and maybe get to the cinema and catch that one because I think it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah,
Unbelievable, acting performance from the lead actor, I believe.
yeah, please let me know because I guess that movie was really influential, same as the other Russian movie, Stalker.
Yes, Stalker's meant to be. That's is it Tarkovsky? Is that the director? I think he's meant to be pretty
Yes.
influential. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to dive into his work. I haven't seen that either. I think Stalker is a bit science fiction-esque as well, I believe, but a bit more slow paced. I feel like Stalker, just looking at it, is maybe a little bit Annihilation vibes, perhaps, but I could be wrong just by looking at a few and knowing a bit about that movie.
Yeah, and it should be the case. And there's this whole world of movies that we haven't watched, like the French brutalist cinema. Have you seen of that? Extremist cinema?
No, no, I don't believe so. I've watched. No, I was thinking. Neo-realism, I think, was Italian. Yes, I've gone a little bit into that, but not French brutalist. Not at all. See, there's so many, right? Across so many
Yeah.
countries, so many years, mate. When are we gonna get the time? That's
Yes.
why we gotta live a long time, mate, to watch them all.
Yes. But I think the best movies that inspired almost everyone, every person around the world, when you're talking about Italian neorealism, is Bicycle Thieves.
Still haven't seen it, mate. Haven't heard of it. What's
It
what's that
will
one about?
it will break your heart. It will break your heart in many ways. You don't even know, you cannot even relate. Are you married with kids?
No, I would like to be one day, but
Yeah.
sadly very far from it right now.
Yeah, me neither. Neither. But it's a story about a guy who was just trying to go to his job and with his kid there, and it will break your heart.
Sounds good. It sounds good, man. I'd be definitely keen to watch that one. And a lot of those older films just have a real charm to them, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, like It's a Wonderful Life. Everyone knows that movie. Have you
Yes,
seen it?
that's beautiful. I regret when I first watched it, I think I might have only given it 4 stars, but I think it's a 5-star movie. And just in retrospect, that ending is just so perfect and wholesome and special. And his name's escaping me, the lead actor in that film, but his acting performance, people say that he drew on his own experiences in like the Second World War. I think he was a soldier in the war. You can really tell that it comes from a deep place of emotion. And yeah, just that whole it's almost maybe people would say that this is insulting to It's a Wonderful Life, but it kind of has that Simpsons feeling about it, probably because the Simpsons parodied it so many times. But that sense of family that is at the core of the Simpsons, for a modern audience who maybe haven't seen this film, that's where it really originates on screen, I think, in some ways. Like that warmth feeling of why family's important. So good in that film. Love it,
Yeah.
mate.
The guy's name is the great actor who played is James Stewart.
Yes, he
I
is
just looked it up.
brilliant. Yes, thank you for, yeah, I'm a criminal for not remembering that because, he's in like, he's in Hitchcock movies as well, and he's a really well-known, huge Hollywood name. He's great.
Yeah, he was the only one who was most human, I guess, out of all the stars. He never had that star. Oh, I don't want to say aura, but that star arrogance in him. He
Yes.
was the most down to earth actor of all time. And speaking of old movies, have you seen Marty?
Marty, no, I have
No,
not.
it's also about loneliness, and it's one of the best. It had the lead actor, he got an Oscar for it, and it's one of the most beautiful movies of all time. And as you said, these old movies have a
Yeah.
lot of charm and a lot of heart, which I sometimes see missing here when I see the cookie cutter product movies that you see sometimes.
Yes, yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Like, and cash grabs and stuff now, whereas those classics stand out for a reason because they've got a sense of emotion and feeling and common experience that we all sometimes have in our lives that stays relevant even like now what's the It's a Wonderful Life is like made in the 40s, so that's like yeah, 80 years ago, which is crazy to think, but it's still relevant now. Modern audiences, I think, can still love that film, and it for a reason. It taps into something that's human, you know?
Yeah, and found community when we have a lot of social interaction, a lot of BS that you see online. We need it more than ever. I guess that's why they stand out. A lot of movies stand out,
Definitely, mate. 100%.
especially one that I've been really recently rediscovering or like recently being obsessed with, even though I've seen it a lot of times. Is V for Vendetta. Have you seen that movie?
Oh, hot take. I really didn't like it when I watched it. It's a long time since I've seen it, but wasn't a fan.
Why?
I don't know. The dialogue just felt so cheesy to me at the time, and I guess maybe I didn't understand it. I watched it maybe like 6 years ago during COVID. I don't know. Oh, sorry, I've said the word. I w- I can restart that
Pandemic.
sentence if you wanna.
Pandemic. Use the
Yeah.
word pandemic.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I watched it during the pandemic, um, and maybe I was just grumpy because of that, just sitting at home. Um, but yeah, it just didn't work for me, mate. But you liked it because it's a cult. Well, not even a cult classic. I think it's a classic. Like it's got a big following. People love that movie, right?
No, but dude, I still don't know. It's the only reason was the dialogue because everything else was kind of good.
I don't know. I can't remember it that well, but I just remember feeling like this is too cheesy. I'm not buying it. I mean, I've got to rewatch it because I can barely remember it. But I just remember nothing in it worked for me. I'd have to look at my Letterboxd review to trigger a few memories of why, but yeah, but I feel like you would speak with more authority on that film than me because I can't really even articulate properly why I didn't like it. I just remember I didn't. But it's been relevant for you recently. You've been enjoying it.
Yes, because again, it's more about like the social media, and I see people hating on minorities and all that jazz. And when you see a movie like that, which says like in the near future, every minority would be you either used for they will be suppressed and we need an anarchy and we have a hope that it will not go forever and everything would be the chaos will ensue. And when you see it and when you see it in real life happening, all the chaos in the world, I'm not sure what's happening in Australia right now, but everywhere where you see chaos and you kind of relate to it, I think that's what made me more feel like that this movie is much more relevant now and it's way ahead its time.
Mm.
Does that make any sense?
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, that it does sound like it would perhaps, yeah, as an older adult, I would relate to it more and potentially maybe get some value out of it. I think a film that tapped into those kind of political ideas really well for me was Eddington. Have you seen that? That was a 2025 film, Ari Aster, recently released film that was almost quite sort of depressing in some ways, but it was set during the pandemic and yeah, explores kind of the division in society that's unfortunately creeping in and how violence is becoming more commonplace and I think it does it in a really interesting way. And so yeah, that film I felt so kind of relevant, but it flopped at the box office. No one, yeah, another one, Oscars aren't recognizing it, didn't do well, but I thought it was a great movie. Would
That's
recommend.
interesting because you see a lot of good movies that just find a second life on streaming rather than box office. And it's hard. We have just one, we had like two or three um theaters nearby, and now there's only one left because there was not much business in the city I live.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, but that's what I see a lot because a lot of people are becoming, I won't say they're not going to theaters, but they're being really, really selective about it.
Hmm. Yeah, because money's hard. I'm sure maybe it's similar in the US. Cost of living is just increasing so much. Your average person can't really afford to be going to the cinemas all the time. And cinemas need to find a way to adapt where I think they just need to, like, ticket prices should be reduced because, if you go to the movies, like, I just feel like there's got to be a more efficient way to encourage people to actually go there. And then once they're there, they'll spend their money on food or other sort of extras or things like that. Yeah, because you can't blame people when cost of living's so high for waiting to watch it on streaming. It's sad, but what can they do? We're all out here struggling, trying to pay the bills, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I still have my day job. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. But yeah, I'm not gonna spend 24 hours on just content creation or filmmaking or writing because a lot of
Yeah,
people are. There's this
yeah,
one individual not just, he was one of the first one that I interviewed, and he was in the writing business for almost 20 years, and he's like, I'm still looking for a job. I'm looking for another part-time job right now because of cost of living going up, which
yeah. And
is
I've heard especially like I was talking to someone on Instagram the other day and she was telling me how I think she's a writer from Germany and she was telling me how she used to have all this work in the industry and now with AI especially writers are getting hit hard. Like I didn't quite realize that it was actually really happening now. Like people are losing their jobs from AI now in the filmmaking industry. I guess I've as a video editor myself, I'm a little bit more protected. I think it's still something that could definitely threaten my job at some point. I mean, I can't always find editing work, but I think it's a lot harder to automate just because of the technical process. Not that it's any more skilled than a writer. I think a writer is arguably even more skilled than a video editor because they're really, coming up with the ideas and without a script, you have nothing, right? Like you can't edit a film that didn't have an amazing script, so like or didn't have a script to begin with. So I think yeah, it was quite shocking to me how wow, actually this is happening right now. AI, it's not just something that's going to happen in the future. People are losing their jobs to it now, which isn't good.
because the whole script doctor and script supervisor jobs are going because of
Yeah.
AI, which is bullshit. Let me just say it.
Yeah.
It's mostly because I don't think it needs to be because I have just for experiment's sake, I've given some prompts to almost all AIs to see what they spit out for the script, and it's the most soulless generic
Yeah.
piece of shit you will ever see. So I don't know
Yes.
why do even corporations thinking about that?
Yes, I know. And all they see is dollar signs and they don't realize there is a world where a movie does well financially, but it's also art. It's meaningful, it has human ingenuity and creativity behind it. It's the same thing with like these new AI video generators. It's disturbing, man. I don't know if you've heard about it's this new Chinese a video model called C Dance 2.0, but it's like creating these sort of ultra realistic in inverted commas like fight scenes between different Marvel superheroes with DC characters and stuff like that. And it does look close to a real movie, but it's disturbing in that it's so lifeless, the creation process behind it. And it's stealing from, from movies across the years. Like that's where it's getting all of its information on how to generate it. And I just hope that in the future, humanity remembers the value of humanity itself being behind art rather than just automating it. I just hope people don't accept that as the norm.
Yeah. Speaking of Sea Dance 2.0, I've seen some fight scenes because, again, I'm friends with a lot of fight coordinators, stunt guys. But if you look at it for like 2 seconds with close eye, you'll see that all of it is bullshit.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope because my fear is that a general audience, perhaps, if the technology keeps improving, may not be able to tell the difference. Because I fully believe you. I think it's probably rubbish what it's generating. But the problem is, if it tricks people into thinking that it's real, people's eyes aren't necessarily as critical or as trained, myself included, to even realize some of that stuff. And I just hope that their media literacy remains strong, people stay intelligent and pick up on that kind of thing.
Okay. So, before I let you go, do you have any future projects that you want to talk about here?
Yes, well, I appreciate it, mate. I guess probably off the bat, in terms of my future aspirations, I'm just trying to grow my channel. So in my YouTube channel, my Instagram page, where I review all as many of the new releases that I can, and try and share my love for cinema, for storytelling, and as well as promoting physical media, Blu-rays, that kind of thing. I go looking for Blu-rays. Um, at different locations. I'm really hoping, it really depends on how successful I can be with the channel financially, but I'd love to travel overseas. I really actually want to go to India and do some vlogging over there, check out some cinemas there, show the experience of watching movies over there, and look for even for some physical media and stuff there, and interview some people there, and do some of my own street interview content to talk to people about movies. So I'm hoping to make all of that happen, mate. So yeah, hopefully a big year coming for me. And if you want to follow me anywhere, I'm HessFlix. That's HessFlix on YouTube and Instagram. But before you say anything else as well, mate, I just want to thank you for having me here because you've been a great host, and we've had a really fun conversation about movies, mate. I'm loving it, so I hope the listeners are appreciating it too because you're doing a great job, mate.
Thank you very much for the kind words, and I really appreciate you, and hopefully I will call you more for more podcast.
Please, I'm begging you. Please. I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. Please subscribe. Subscribe for more content. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Subscribe to my channel.